All right, so what I'll do today is just take you through a very brief overview about Brisbane and about the University of Queensland. Okay, so just give me a second to get this working. All right, and just in terms of rankings, we are, again, very strong in the top 100 in the 5 major rankings. Key thing there is that we were in the QS rankings were just released a few weeks back. We maintained our place in the top 50 and improved to number 46, actually. This is important for you. I'll show you as we go through the presentation what this means. I know rankings, a lot of students ask about them, but I'll show you how this applies to the real world and why this is a benefit to you. I know many of you today are talking to other group of 8 universities and they obviously have very similar rankings. So I'll show you kind of how that applies to our university as well. Okay, where we are, hopefully you already know this, but we're in northeastern Australia, up in Brisbane. A few things I'll talk about as we go through. Just so you know that I actually am not from Brisbane. I moved here earlier this year. Cameron actually came and met me when I first moved here, and I can talk about what it's like moving to Brisbane as someone who was not from the city. So I'll talk about that as we go through. But key thing you can see there is just really, you know, very good location. Subtropical climate. Those of you living in Bangkok, it's probably going to be summertime. Will be quite similar to Bangkok, but the rest of the year is actually not so humid, a lot more pleasant. All right. We'll show you the campus in a second. You can see there it was voted one of the most beautiful campuses in the world. That's making it really a fantastic place to study. All right. So let's talk a bit more about Brisbane. It says young, positive, vibrant, entrepreneurial. Yeah, it's the 3rd biggest city in Australia. It wasn't always the case. It's grown very rapidly over the last 10 years, and the state of Queensland has grown quite a lot as well with some of the major emerging cities in Australia. What this means is obviously sort of economically it's done quite well. That means hopefully good opportunities for our students, and that also the University of Queensland is very well tied in with the business community because of our strong rankings and our strong reputation. And obviously in many areas our graduates are very highly sought after as well. Things to do, I mean, just generally Brisbane's a very easy city to get around. I moved here, it's public transport, it's very, very good bus system, good train system. Getting to campus, I'll show you in a minute, but I've just found it very easy to get acclimatized with Brisbane. And even though it's the 3rd biggest city in Australia, it's still very easy to negotiate. Key thing you see there as well is that the weather and the blue sky in the background, that's a very common sight here in Brisbane. Everyone you speak to generally will talk about how their city is the most friendliest city. It's super friendly. We said that about Brisbane as well, but in Brisbane it makes sense because the weather is very, very good. It's about 300 days of sunshine per year. So in the middle of winter, my friends in Melbourne, my family in Adelaide, you know, wearing big coats and jackets. I'm just wearing a t-shirt, polo shirt sometimes, or maybe a light coat. So the weather here is really, really good, particularly autumn and winter. So that makes a big difference. People are generally happier when they get more sunshine, more vitamin D. So when you're studying here, you get to enjoy the outdoors more, get to travel more because the weather here is very, very good. Less days you need to use an umbrella. So people really like that about Brisbane. It's why we get so many tourists during the year, especially during autumn and winter, because the weather here is much nicer than sort of southern Australia or southeastern Australia. Right. Okay. Here's the campus. Give you a bit of a nice shot of Brisbane here as well. So you can see the campus is by the river, which is fantastic. It means you can catch buses down there. You can catch ferries on the river as well. In the background, you can see the city, which is only probably about 15 minutes by bus. To be honest, it's not too far away. Our campus is very, very big. As you saw, it was voted one of the best in the world. It's great sports facilities, lakes, parklands. You have also, of course, tremendous academic and research facilities on campus. As well as that, everything you need really on campus in terms of food and things of that nature, medical care, pharmacy on campus. It's got everything, and it's really, really big campus as well. So having said that, we have 2 bus stations at the campus. That's how big it is. So it's just a really good place to study, but a really beautiful area. You can see how stunning it is. Plenty of accommodation on campus or nearby the campus. About 5 minutes bus away, you have Toowong, which is a major shopping center. A lot of students will live around there. Very easy to get to campus. So it's a really green, peaceful area. Really sort of a very traditional university experience you'll get with us. It's a great place to work for me, and I imagine it's an even better place to study if you're studying with all your friends here. So really, it's a great place to spend 3 or 4, 2 to 4, however long your degree is. It's a great place. Just very quickly, just on the border situation, obviously the borders are not open currently, so we're teaching online next semester. But we'll, again, I'm sure you'll know as soon as we reopen as well. I just thought I'd touch on that very quickly. There is some face-to-face teaching happening. That's the students are already here. Okay, so we'll see what happens for semester 1 next year. I have to wait and see what our government approves. But just on that, I mean, I was talking before about the group of 8 and always very strong research universities. What does that all mean? Well, for us, it means we're one of only a few centres in Australia selected to do the COVID-19 vaccine research. That just shows you what's possible at this university, the level of academic we have, the level of facilities we have to be able to pull off what is going to be sort of a very major achievement globally. So this is very exciting. They're doing human trials now in July, so it's progressing nicely. Hopefully some good news later in the year. But this is very important to show you, there's a lot of good universities in Australia and even in Queensland, but to see the level of what we can produce here at University of Queensland, there's no better example than this. We've done other sort of cancer vaccines and things like that as well. So yeah, it's just shows you how tremendous sort of the staff we have here and the facilities are. So a lot of parents like to ask me about return on investment. I think this shows the level of the kind of legacy that you can create if you study with us. Just online classroom. Sometimes I do get questions about that. This is just planned for semester 2 until we can resume face-to-face. So it's not meant to be a long-term thing, but it's a very straightforward system. If you, for some reason, do need to do online, it's very straightforward. The Blackboard system. Just give you a very quick preview there as well. So you have recorded lectures, you have online tutorials and stuff like that, and then you have sort of online exams and things as well, which are fairly secure. So that's important. As well as that, we still have, face-to-face, we have a massive student services team and a big events team as well. It's a very large thing they focus on at UQ. Given we have a big campus, we make sure it's a vibrant campus. So even being online, though, we have a lot of stuff is still maintained in terms of online. And if you come to campus, of course, you have all the support, including the Student Employability Centre, which you can use, and student staff within your faculty who can assist you with your employment needs as well, in terms of how to look for work, how to look for internships. We have a number of free things around entrepreneurship as well. So yeah, a lot of support provided for you. Okay, and even now, I told you about the vibrant campus life, but now we have a virtual village. There's tons of things students can do online to make friends and things like that. But obviously, if you come to campus, it reopens. We have a massive orientation week and lots of ways and clubs and societies for people to meet friends. Okay, scholarships and fees. A lot of questions I get about scholarships. Most of you, I imagine, are looking at semester 1 or semester 2 next year. We have not yet finalized our scholarships for that, but we typically do have some scholarships from the international office every semester. The best thing to do is just keep an eye on that website there. You can also, sometimes our faculties will launch scholarships, for just certain programs or for certain people from certain countries, and just keep an eye on the website. We'll be able to show you the kinds of scholarships we have. Typically, the University of Queensland, these are all based on academic merit. So that's usually the criteria is that students definitely have the students with the best grades will have to meet some academic criteria in order to be awarded one. So keep an eye on that website. If you do apply to UQ, obviously through Insight, there's no cost, and it also means that you get updated as soon as there are scholarships launched, which are relevant to you as well. So that's one way to do it. Otherwise, just keep an eye on the website, and of course, I will let the Insight team know developments in our scholarships as well. Great. Again, if for some reason, so far we also have if you're looking at semester 2, we do have a tuition fee rebate that's people studying online. Tuition fees for next year, if you're looking at next year, they will be the same as 2020. They're not going up at all, so that's some good news for everybody. And potentially there will be a support package for students if you do have to come to Australia. If you do need to go through a quarantine process, then the university is preparing financial support for our students in that process as well. So you can see there's lots of support in many different areas from the university for our international students.